Hey, so today we are talking all about value based pricing. And plot twist, I'm actually going to throw a little monkey wrench in there and say value and worth are kind of irrelevant to your price when you are charging for online services. Now, this is a bit of a departure from what I've shared and taught in the past because I have podcast episodes about value based selling and value based pricing and all of that kind of stuff. But if you're here, chances are you have felt friction, a little bit of resistance, triggered by people telling you to raise your prices or to charge a certain amount or high ticket versus low ticket, and that it is a condition of how much value you put in the world. And more importantly, could be a reflection of your expertise, your credibility, and all that jazz, right? So if that sounds good to you, stick around because we're going to be talking a little bit more about this particular conversation. I'm heated, I'm fired up, and I hope that you're going to be able to join me as we go through, whether live or on the replay. Make sure that you're commenting below and letting me know where you are watching from. My name is Susan McVeigh, and I am a business sales strategist that helps entrepreneurs like you and me sell with more ease without the sleaze so that you can make more money, more impact while living your life of freedom and flexibility. So I was having a conversation with an amazing woman today, and we were going on and on about, this incongruence in the industry. So for context, most of the people that I help are online coaches, consultants, experts of some kind, service providers, authors, and speakers. Okay, so it's a broad range. And oftentimes we're taught and we hear charge your worth, charge your value. Have you heard that? And at the same time, there's this piece about what is value? How do I demonstrate value? How do I demonstrate worth? And a lot of times, those two words get stuck together, which is oftentimes why we have difficulty charging what we want. Let's just be real, right? And if you've ever been triggered by people who are charging what you desire, and there's something in you that feels like you can't charge what you desire, or that you have to add more stuff into your offers, your programs, your products and services in order for it to be viewed as valuable or to have more, like it's just good enough. I want us to pause and consider something different. Okay. And again, just to give you context, I was there too. I believe this fake news. This is the term that I'm coining. Fake news is all the stuff that doesn't come from us. It comes from the world. It comes from other people saying things that we then take to be true, our truth, when really it has no place in your mind or your body, your emotions, your heart and soul, because you know that it doesn't quite fit, but you can't quite put your finger on why that is. Does this make sense? So here's the question that I would pose to you. Whose definition of value? When you're trying to charge for your products or services, especially as an online service provider, who determines the value? What do you base the value upon? And I think sometimes we're trying to essentially prove that we deserve the amount that we're trying to charge, that we're trying to justify our prices, that we are not sure if it's worth it to somebody else, that we are loading everything but the kitchen sink into our offers. When if we were being truthful with ourselves first and then with the people that we're here to serve, doing that actually serves nobody, right? Giving them more than what they actually can manage and handle is not serving them. It's not serving you. It leads to burnout. It leads to exhaustion. It leads to you being overworked and underpaid in your own business. And it forces you to stay stuck in an employee mindset and mentality versus an entrepreneur. But here's the thing. I've done it too. It's not our fault because let's face it, the vast majority of the world is built for employees. Statistically, we are outnumbered. If you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, we are outnumbered, friend, right? Hello, Margie. I hope you're well. As a result, we're taught by employees. We're surrounded by employees. Now, we need employees. We have employees in our own businesses, right? If you have a team of any kind, if you have outsourced to a contractor, if you are interacting with people in the world, you're working and dealing with employees as well. But the mentality of an employee is what gets us stuck. And this is why sometimes it feels like, as hard as you might be spinning your wheels to get moving and getting some forward traction, it kind of feels like you're being anchored back and you're getting stuck. So I had this realization just recently where I said, Susan, like, because I've taught value-based pricing and value-based selling. And if you Google it, like, it's still valid. But again, who determines the value? And I think so often we are so caught up in the value of the thing that I sell, the value of the thing that I offer, the value of the thing that I do for you now defines part of my value, part of my worth. Because again, how often do we say, oh, it's not worth it, right? We go into a store, we look at something, we're like, I would never pay that. It's not worth blank. So immediately, as much as you might realistically and logically know, like consciously, subconsciously, it's another story, right? You might know and understand when I say, of course, you're priceless. There is no price tag on your worth as a human being. You're going to nod and say, yeah, of course, Susan, because it makes sense, right? But subconsciously, we are running different dialogues. We're running a different soundtrack that's being imprinted from even before we were born. Because the language patterns of what we're saying out loud, when we are reflecting on things that we pay for, the things that we buy, the things that we want to now price in our own businesses, it's going to have an undercurrent that somehow worthiness and whether something is worth it is directly connected to the concept of value, which then is connected to pricing. Does this make sense? So give me a yes in the comments if you've ever felt like, I want to charge what I want, but I have to load up the value. Like, I have to give more stuff so that it's more valuable, so that the value matches the price point. So if I'm going to give $100 worth of whatever, that I somehow have to make sure that they're getting their money's worth, that there's $100 worth in that value of the price. Is that a yes? I've done it. I've seen clients do it. And as much as we are moving away from time equals money, because that's number one, the quickest way to get in this trap, right? So immediately your homework today is, if you're charging for your time, you can stop that, because that will immediately stop this dialogue, at least at a conscious level. But at a subconscious level, these patterns take a lot longer to unwind. So we're not going to be able to obviously do that in the context of today's video, but I wanted you to gain a different perspective, that perhaps the reason why you're stuck on price is not because you aren't, like, your offer is not good. And that's why you literally can charge whatever you want. Now, here's the caveat. Margie, I see your yes. The women and men that I work with, although by and large, I typically work mostly with women, I know that you're out to do good in the world, right? So if you're just a shyster, you probably aren't here for this long, right? Let's just get that right. So the chance that you're here and that you're trying to take advantage of people by charging like $1 million or bajillion bucks for something that you have no business selling in the first place, if you're connected to me, is going to be like this small. However, I had to put that caveat out there because I recognize, just like any other piece of knowledge, it can be used for good or for not so good. Okay. And as a result, we often, the ones of us, you and me, friend, that are out to do more good in the world, we have more hangups around what other people will think or say, or because we have past hurts, past baggage. I call this the trash, right? It's also fake news that we allow those stories to be carried forward into the future, recognizing that you are a new person every single day that you get up. That's the power of your brain. Oh, I lost the word. We literally can retrain our brain every single minute, every single second. Like just by you being here, you're already shifting your perspective. That's the power that we have. And so when we recognize that you do not have to do anything extra in order for your offer to be deemed as more valuable to somebody who is going to pay for it, then there's nothing that you actually need to do beyond what you already do. So here's the example that I'm going to give you, because I know conceptually you might get this, but part of you is going to be fighting me and being like, but Susan, I have to do this. Like if I'm going to sell $1,000 offer, I'm going to have to give more. No, you don't, right? So you could literally sell something for $5 and sell that same thing for $25 or $50, $500, or even $5,000. What is the difference? The difference is the person who wants to purchase it. The difference is also in that person's ability to receive the value from what it is that you're giving. Now, it is not your responsibility to force value on someone. So here's what I mean. If you've ever had a client, and let me know if this is you, where you have wondered whether or not they're going to get the results. And when they don't get the results, you feel a certain way. You are like, oh my gosh, I didn't do right by them. They didn't get what they paid for. Like I have to keep giving and giving until they get the results. Or you're just like, you feel bad about yourself because somehow it's a reflection that you're not a good teacher, coach, consultant, mentor, guide, expert. And if you have somehow allowed their lack of results or their lack of just like extracting the value of what you thought they should be getting as a result of working with you, if it has made you feel a certain way, then chances are your value and your worth are sandwiched together, which, like I said, very normal. It's very normal, right? Because most of the world is taught this way. This is what we're surrounded with because of the language and the subconscious beliefs and patterns that we are bombarded with from childhood and even beyond. So how do we address this? Well, again, like I'm not going to help you fix it in the context of here and now. But what I can do is help you to understand what's going on below the surface so that you can break out of it and start creating awareness. Because if you're not aware of something, you can't shift it. So I want us to create a conversation around the fact that value and worth are not the same thing. However, your body, your subconscious is recognizing them as the same thing, which is why if you've had resistance to this, price based off of value, this is the reason why. Because somehow inside you're connecting value related to your price of your offers to your worthiness. And it's making you feel a certain way and it's triggering you a certain way. Make sense? So you're going to need to split. Worth and value are not the same thing. There's subconscious things that you can definitely do, including meditations and hypnosis and that sort of thing. It's going to vary depending on what is going on for you. Again, outside the context of today. For your price, I want you to see if you are attached to your price point. If I told you right now, whatever the price is. So let's say your average price is $3,000 or $5,000 for one of your offers. If I said to you, I want you to charge, and it might look different in the context of what's included in the offer, but the essence of the offer, the strategy, the framework, the blueprint, like the core result of whatever it is that you give in that $5,000 offer. And I'm not talking about done for you, okay? What would happen if I asked you, could you sell that for $50? Would you feel a certain way about it? That's how you know if you're attached. And if I told you, I want you to take that same $5,000 offer and I want you to see, could you charge $500,000 for that? Now I've picked like an out there price point because for most people, that's not going to be something that you would readily be selling. You might have a $50,000 offer, which is why I didn't pick that number. 500,000 for most that are providing a service, that would be outside the norm. Not unheard of, but outside the norm. Okay. So what happened? What happened in your body? What happened in your mind? What happened in your soul, right? Did something just go and seize up when I said $50 or even 500,000? Because either way, the pendulum swings. If you are attached to the price that you're offering, and this again is just for services, because for products, we're not just picking a random number. Oftentimes for services, we are picking a little bit of a random number. I don't recommend it, but that being said, you have to be able to stand behind the price that you're selling, because chances are, as a solopreneur or somebody who is doing the main sales in your business, you're the one that's having to speak to clients or process the customer transactions somehow through your sales process, right? And you're building that sales process. It's your energy, it's your time, it's your attention, it's your intention. And that is going to come through even if you're not directly interacting with the client. Although for the most part, chances are for services, you are in some way. So that's why I'm posing this question to you. Because if you feel a certain way where you're like, oh my gosh, like I could never charge $50 for my stuff. I give so much value. Again, the value is based off of what somebody is willing to pay and extract. And so if you're struggling because you can't sell your product or services, and I've sold at all levels, all the way from free, all the way up to multi-million dollars, right? In a non-traditional sales environment. So I say that because I'm not somebody who has been grown up in the sales world through a commission lens. It's a very different atmosphere. It's a very different way of being, a very different way of selling, which is why oftentimes clients come to me because I don't sell the typical way, right? It's because I have never had to sell the typical way. So when we think about it from that perspective, that your services that you're offering is not connected to your worthiness, but somehow value and worth get sandwiched together. So if you're attached to the price point, it is because that dollar value means something about you, about what it is that you're prepared to give. And when we have that kind of attachment, it makes it very, very challenging for us to grow and scale. Is it still possible? Sure it is. But it becomes much more difficult as you hear rejection or no's. It takes you a lot longer to get back on the horse, to keep selling to new people. It makes you question whether or not your offer is solid. And I'm here to tell you, there's nothing wrong with your offer. There's nothing wrong with your offer. You may have the wrong price because you're attached to a certain price based off of what you want, based off of what you desire. And it's not even always attached to the results or the transformation or the outcomes. It's not even attached to the client. Although really, like, I want you to evaluate some of these things, right? Because the value is based off of who you're selling to and what they deem is important enough for them to exchange what they're going to give you for money for what they're going to get in return. Money is simply a measurement of the value that they're willing to pay for what they can receive. So somebody who can only receive $50 worth of value is going to look at your framework, your outcome, your result, and only be able to see $50 worth that they're going to pay. Does this make sense? This is why basing it on value or worth is very, very challenging. You have to price based off of what you're aligned and congruent with. And that also includes who you're selling to, how you're selling it, whether or not it's something that you feel good about and the result in the transformation. And you may be thinking, but Susan, isn't the value based off of the results in the transformation? Yes and no. Because again, somebody who only sees the value at a certain level that they're willing to pay, you're not going to be able to convince them that it's worth more. And that's where we get stuck. Because if you're selling to the wrong person, and if you're selling the wrong level of transformation, or you're not articulating that in a way that they can receive beyond the price point of the box that they're in, they won't say yes. Make sense? So that same transformation and outcome and result, just packaged in a different way, allowing you to sell it to the right person. It's the same offer essentially, but we rework this. That will allow you to take that $50 offer and sell it confidently at $5,000, or sell it for more, $10,000, $20,000, anything in between. And here's the lovely part. You could actually sell it at all different price points at all different levels, depending on how you want to run your business. And it doesn't have to diminish the value of what you're offering at the higher price points or at the lower ones. It doesn't have to do any of that. Does this make sense? So when we are taught this story that high ticket only attracts certain types of people, or that if you build a low ticket business that you diminish the value of your brand, these are all lies. This is fake news. I mean, you just look at a regular business. When I say regular, because I think sometimes in the online space, we get so focused in tunnel vision around what the online market is doing that we lose sight of the opportunities that other types of businesses are doing in real life and making billions of dollars doing. And so why is it that you go to a retail store or a financial service company, like an insurance company, and they will have different products and programs with basically the same outcome, but priced at different amounts? Does it mean that the value of that is worth less? Not necessarily. It just means that for that person, that's what fits for the value that they want to receive. And vice versa, how much they want to pay as a measurement of that value. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So value and worth, number one, do not belong in the same party. They're not the same thing. But too often we are taught this, we live this, we breathe it, we say it, we don't even think about it. And as a result, when we have to think about value and pricing based off of value, we're going to feel resistance, and there's going to be triggers that come up, and there's going to be misalignment, and you might not even realize why and what to do about it. Okay. So first, recognize when that happens so that you can unpack that and at least begin to separate that has nothing to do with value and that has nothing to do with worth. So catch yourself when you're saying things like worth. Okay. The second part is to look and evaluate your offers right now and see if you're aligned to the price. Because sometimes we're told to charge a certain thing for a certain type of offer or in a certain type of market. And I'm going to challenge you right now and say, what if the rules don't apply? What if you get to make the rules? And what if, as long as you're aligned to what it is, again, with the caveat that I know that you produce results that other people desire, that you can do what you say you're going to do inside of your offer, that given that the value is really beholden to the person who wants to make the exchange with you. And as a result, if you're comfortable with the price, it's going to be way easier for you to sell your offer. So it begins with you. And it begins with what it is that you believe the result and the transformation is going to be paid for. Like, what's the exchange that somebody would want to give you money for? And what's the price point of that? Right? So yes, we're going to still use the words value and worth, but I'm challenging us because I think a lot of times we use those words interchangeably. And then when we go to try and do these exercises in our business for pricing, we get stuck. Make sense? Okay. So if you want help, especially around your offer, I want you to comment offer below because I may have some resources. I may have a cheat sheet for you, but if not enough people ask for the resource, I'm not going to create it. So we still haven't hit the threshold. So put offer below so I know that this is something that you need help with specifically, and I will go ahead and create some resources that might be helpful for you, especially around pricing or different types of offers so that you can see how simple it gets to be, that you can charge low ticket, you can charge high ticket, you can charge everything in between. You can make a premium product and not have to be attached to the price point, not because you're not delivering value and not because you are not worth it, but because it is the exchange of the measurement of what it is that the person buying it deems as valuable for the problem that they have that you're solving. Okay, so with that, we will be back tomorrow with another video topic to help you to make more sales, to grow your wealth, to impact the world without having to sacrifice your freedom. SusanMcVeigh.com. Feel free to connect. Which, side note, if you have gone to SusanMcVeigh.com in the last 2 weeks, I apologize because tech happens and apparently we were down. So if for whatever reason you're trying to find a resource or something and you couldn't find what you needed because we were having tech problems, please feel free to reach out and message me or send me an email, info@susanmcveigh.com. More than happy to send you some resources that we already have available in order to kind of get you going. Okay. So if you need help with offers, contact me, message me, because we have some exciting new ways to be able to help you to do exactly that. And I would hate for you to stay stuck because more people need to know what you're doing in the world in order for us to keep making more, giving more, and living more this beautiful life that we have. Margie, I see your comment. Yes, a cheat sheet would be great. A resource like a workbook would also be great. Amazing. Send me a message. Let me know where you're at because I'm constantly creating and putting together some ideas and resources for ways that people can be able to work with me. And we're going to be launching Offer Lab very soon, Irresistible Offer Lab, but also doing a workshop. So if you want my eyes and ears on your business offer to be able to get you kind of out the door, refining, reflecting, or updating, or creating a brand new offer from scratch. Because I'm in the midst of it right now. And some of you, if you've been following me on these videos this week, you've been seeing me do it real time, right? So it does not need to be complicated. It does not need to be like earth shattering. Again, I've sold stuff from free and like $5, $7, $9, $15, $19, $33, $49, $97, $197, $297, $497, $997, $1497, $3,000, $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, $25,000, $100,000, and in my past corporate career, $1 million, multi-million-dollar portfolios. So the reason why I say all those numbers is because they're just numbers. Yes, are they attached to offers and price points? Yes. But as you could hear, my voice is not attached to any of them because they really, like, my voice was basically flat. It didn't all of a sudden go, oh! That's when we have a freak out because we are uncomfortable with our price points. The price is kind of irrelevant as it relates to your value, your worth. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the person that you are helping and the value that they're willing to extract from your offer. And there needs to be congruence, absolutely. But you could take the same offer, repackaged in different ways, and sell it. And this is, I'm going to show you this on this workshop, exactly how I'm doing this and how I'm going to continue to do this. So if you want to join me, let me know, send me a message because I'm trying to pick 2 dates. It's going to be a 2-hour live workshop so that I can help you. I'm going to give you my framework so that you can get your offer knocked out in a day. It's the fastest, and I've just done it. This is why I know it's possible because I literally just did it. And so if you've been hemming and hawing because you're overthinking how to make your offer and you're trying to figure out price and you're trying to figure out a name and you're trying to figure out what to put into it, I'm going to show you the quick and down and dirty so that you can get executing in a day, and possibly be getting your very first yes or a sale or a client or somebody saying, I want to know more. Like if that's something that you're interested in doing before the end of the year, then I highly recommend you come to do this. It'll be $47. I don't know that I'm ever going to do this again live, but there will be 2 separate dates next week and then the week after. I have to just confirm what those dates are. 2 hours. We will have time for questions. And it's brand new content, brand new curriculum based off of what I just did. So it will combine strategy, some spirituality and energetics, because it's that magic combination of really having alignment and congruence with what you're doing so that you're excited to do it. I mean, if you're not excited, who's going to be excited to buy it, right? So your energy and your enthusiasm about what it is that you're doing is infectious, it's contagious, it is magnetic. And when we are fully behind what we're doing, not because we're scared of the offer, or not because we're worried about whether or not people can afford to buy, that's irrelevant. You're the one that gets to decide. You're the one that's in control. You're the one that gets to pick because it's your business. It's your business. And nobody else has any business telling you whether or not your price is good or bad or ugly. Everybody's going to have an opinion, right? This is about you figuring out your sweet spot so that you can get over that hump and stop thinking that your offer and your offer price in particular is indicative of the value that you put out in the world, the worthiness that you have, or what you deserve or don't deserve. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with math. There's a little bit of science in there, and it's really about you and your alignment to who you're called to serve. So stop hiding, stop overthinking. And if this is an area that you need help with, come and join me. I literally don't even have anything for you to click on yet. That's how fresh this is. I already have somebody interested, ready. She's like, Susan, if you were to do this on Christmas Eve, I still show up. That's how much I need this right now. So if that's you, we're not doing it on Christmas Eve. We're going to have 2 separate dates so that you can pick the one that you want. You can join us on the replay. You will get that as being part of this experience. So I can't wait. As you can tell, I'm fired up. And I would love to have you come and join me if you feel called to it. So send me a message. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, comment below, or you can email me. Either way, info@Susan McVey, and I would be more than thrilled to have you join, to give you the details as soon as we have a link and we test it and make sure that all of the things work out. So in the past, it would have been a PayPal link, and I'm very tempted, let me tell you. But I also recognize a lot of people don't want to use PayPal. And I'm constantly testing out new things in my business so that I can teach you as a good teacher. So with that, thank you so much, Margie. I have so appreciated having you participate in this conversation with me. We'll be back tomorrow talking about another topic to help you to grow your business, okay? To make more sales, to create more impact, and to love the life that you live. So we will talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye-bye.